Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Faye Semple. I am a spiritual geomancer and I help people work with earth energy and cosmic energy so that they can really live to their full potential. So if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification so that when I go live or post a video, you never miss these big picture discussions. So today I'm going to be diving into a profound topic which is really all about how we get caught up in the cycles of events that are beyond our control and how this understanding can actually help us navigate sort of current political upheaval in the Western world. And I think we're going to blend that with geomancy and earth energy today. So you can see how we exist in multiple, what I call nested energy ecologies. So think about Russian dolls. There's my energy ecology, the energy of society, the energy of the politics that I live in, the energy of the earth, and there's the energy of the earth sort of progression. And they're all a microcosm. We live in a microcosm of those bigger energies. So Jude Curran talks about this in the Cosmic Hologram, and she really explains that our universe operates as a sort of coherent and interconnected hologram, where everything from the smallest particles to the largest structures are influenced by cosmic cycles and patterns. And these cycles shape our lives, often in ways that we cannot fully control and predict. And I think that's really important to remember, because so often now with things like the law of attraction and manifestation techniques, we're told almost that everything is under our control. And the immediacy of our life, yes, is very much a reflection of our individual consciousness, but we're also subject to the whim of mass consciousness. And there are, events that are unfolding beyond our control. So we may be caught up, in wars and huge parts of political upheaval and natural disasters. They are beyond our control. They're not individually manifested. So what right now we are witnessing significant political upheaval across the Western world. And these changes can feel overwhelming. But by understanding that these changes can feel overwhelming, but that we're part of, that they're part of larger cosmic cycles, we can gain perspective and hopefully find ways to navigate these turbulent times. So let's break this down a bit. Let's think of these cosmic cycles as waves. And sometimes we're on the crest of the wave and we have stability and progress. And other times we've dropped, we're in the trough and we're experiencing turmoil and disruption. And I think, particularly in the West, we've had stability for so long and now we're dropping into this trough. And it is important to remember that each phase is temporary. We don't know quite how long they're going to last, because we are an active player to a degree in this, in how much we want to get out of it. But also that these things are a part of a larger cycle of growth and evolution. And I think right now we're seeing these tensions as they play out on the political sphere, but also what I've noticed as we go through these waves of cosmic energy, and we're coming up to the end of one, actually at the end of November, that what we're seeing at the moment also in earth energy is a very much more of a weaving of earth energy lines, an expansion of the width of lines. And I've been noticing huge waves of energy coming out of fault lines. So this is also indicative of the fact that something is shifting within the earth. There could be tectonic plate movements. So there may also be natural disasters. There may be earthquakes. There may be volcanic interruptions. Perhaps there will even be things like, flooding and tsunamis. And all these things are actually match up with the astrology that we're moving through at the moment. So you can see how everything's interconnected. The astrology of the earth is saying we're going to have political upheaval. There's going to be more top-down control as things try to cling on. But that's because we're moving into change. We're moving into a place where actually the astrologer is calling us to have personal power rather than to look for power from without. So this is why we see this tension of power in societies. At the same time, this is mirrored in shifts in the earth energy that are moving the earth. Earth energy is changing. That affects our psychology, it affects our energy. And the earth itself, we may see things like natural disasters as we go through this trough. So these are troubling times, and I think many of us of a sensitive disposition are feeling it. Anybody sensitive to energy, anybody politically aware is noting this. I think what we can see is a sort of, or feel particularly, is sort of a sense of grief and fear and powerlessness that many people are feeling in these sort of politically challenging times. And that general human psyche feeling also gets channeled down the earth grid system. So whereas before, when we were in a fairly local area with the smaller lines coming in, we tended to have a lot of almost like localized energy. There was, it's holographic. So there's a thread of universal, sort of human or sort of worldwide human consciousness coming down. But it was very less, it was more weak. Same as, imagine the big lines, it's like taking our heartbeat on a monitor. We can take it on the heart and we'll get a good strong beat. These are the major lines on the grid, the big lines that circumnavigate the earth. We get a strong pulse. But on local lines, it's a bit like taking your heartbeat on your little finger. You'll feel the beat, but it's a lot weaker. And that is like local lines. We got a sense of collective human consciousness, but it was a much weaker pulse. And now with the changes in the energy lines, we're feeling these stronger pulses at a local level. So we're much more sensitive to human consciousness on a worldwide level, as well as our own consciousness, because these shifts in energy trigger these, all the sort of things that we need to deal with, our own power, our own autonomy. Where am I going? We can see that society is changing in the West en masse, but also how does that affect my life? So we are in these many, many nested energy ecologies. So how can we navigate these phases of change in the power structures of civilization? So I just want to give a few practical tips. So tip one is to stay informed and grounded. So it's crucial to be aware of what's happening around us, but we don't want to get swept away by this tide of sensational news, because everything that's happening is playing out for a reason. And we're going through cycles, and it will ultimately work itself out. So it's very important not to get bogged down in sort of trauma and fear and despair. And we can assist that by taking an active part in change. So perhaps if you are politically minded, you won't want to take some kind of political action. We want to make sure we're looking after our health and all those kind of things. So, but balance your media consumption with grounding practices, whether that be meditation, spending time in nature, or engaging in creative activities. But it's important to have that balance. And we're lucky in the West that we're very much still able to do that. We have, still vast amounts of freedoms, and we've got the ability to do that. So staying grounded can help you maintain your center rather than responding in fear as events may unfold, or responding in anger to news as we go through these changes. Because as I say, everything works in cycles or waves. And like the cycle of the year says, things are born in spring, they move around to summer, they mature, they blossom, then they bear fruit, and then we go into harvest, then we go into death and decay. We go into that dark night of the soul before the next new growth emerges. And at the moment, we've got to imagine that we are sort of in the harvest phase. We're going through this harvest phase. We will go into the dark night of the soul as a collective human species, but the spring has to emerge again. The light has to return. There's no other option. What the universal energy is calling us to do now in this dark night of the soul is to see what wants to emerge from within us, is to be patient and see what buds of growth we are individually being called to create, to contribute to this wider circle that in any respects we have no control over. But it's much easier if you're on this wheel, even though we've got no personal control over it, to sort of go with the flow in our own life rather than trying to paddle against it. So tip 1 is to stay grounded and really to stay informed but grounded. Now, tip 2 is to connect with your community. So in times of upheaval, it's really easy to feel isolated and powerless. But remember, we are stronger together. So engage in meaningful conversations, participate in local initiatives, support each other, go to your local housing groups, be engaged in something that is going to help you, a walking group, but building a sense of community can provide emotional support and practical solutions. So, maybe you want to find groups that you can share thoughts and feelings with, work towards common goals, or share your hobbies with, because collective energy can be incredibly empowering. You can have conversations, you can sit down with a cup of tea and put the world to rights, and it stops it sort of festering in your own energy field so that it becomes too much of a burden for you. Tip 3 is to focus on personal growth and resilience. Using these periods of bigger change as an opportunity for self-reflection and personal development are really important. So if you could imagine humans, society, we're all moving together at an event beyond our control, but we can look internally and say, how is this experience helping me? How is it calling me to step up and increase my capacity to be the soul that I came here to be? Because all these things provide lessons and challenges for a growth opportunity. I couldn't sit back and wallow and go, oh, woe is me and the world is ending. Or I can say, actually, this is, I can be active in this. I can work out how this is going to help me to grow. Is it going to make me stronger? Is it going to make me speak my mind more? Is it going to make me take more action so that I don't feel a victim? Whatever it is may be. So what can you learn from the current situation, and how can you grow stronger and more adaptable? So perhaps you want to consider adopting new practices that build your resilience, such as, mindfulness, journaling, learning. But all these practices can help you navigate uncertainty with greater ease. And the 4th tip is to embrace change as a catalyst for innovation. Times of upheaval, even though they can be very challenging, often lead to breakthroughs and new ways of thinking. So instead of resisting change, look for opportunities to adapt and innovate. So if we look at that in a business context, for example, that's catalyst, change can either change a company and it can be more resilient, leaner, and more productive, or it can go bankrupt and go up under. So think of yourself as like a company. Am I going to be innovative and look for ways of adapting, or am I going to declare myself bankrupt, so to speak, and be out of action? So even I'd say we're in these bigger cycles, but we can either move with it and accept where we're going and the lessons and challenges it presents to us. That way we've got more of a chance of coming out the other side of it. And tip 5, of course, as I've just touched on, is to maintain a long-term perspective. Political upheavals and societal changes can create an immediate sort of a sense of immediate crisis. But it's important to remember that these events are part of these bigger cycles. So keeping a long-term view will help you stay grounded and focus on what truly matters. So we have seen Earth energy lines, for instance, widening considerably now since the end of last year, beginning of this year. They sort of suddenly took a sudden jump, and they've been widening. And it's as this wave of energy that we're going through will sort of peak in November. I can't say how that's going to manifest in November. Well, as I say, God forbid it's a war or something terrible like a terrorist attack, but it could also be equally a natural disaster, or it could be nothing. It could be that society says, do you know what? we've got this opportunity to really change and do something different. Let's make the most of it. I don't know how that's going to play out. I have no idea. But as we come to the end of November, we're going to, I get a sense the energy lines are all going to change again. And what they're going to look like, I'm not really sure at this stage. But I say you can feel there's big waves of energy coming out of even minor fault lines, because I live near one. So if my minor fault line is exhibiting big waves of energy that I wouldn't normally see, there must be quite bigger waves coming out of bigger fault lines. So the earth is twisting, there's some movement going on, and the movement in the earth, it's calling us to create movement within ourselves while we go through this big change. So keep a long-term view, as I say, and that will help you stay grounded and focusing on what truly matters. So I'd say, really reflect on history a little bit, perhaps do some reading about how society have navigated change. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but read about the Red Terror and the Bolsheviks, read about communism, or read about the fall of the Roman Empire, or read about different political movements, read about great things that have happened. Because sometimes it's out of the ashes, isn't it? We rise. The beautiful phoenix, or something new will rise. So this broader perspective of reading about how society has gone through these changes before and has continued to come through and bloom and create new stuff, that there is this perpetual cycle of new epochs arising and collapsing, and a new epoch arising and maturing and collapsing. So this is just, it's inevitable. It's the cycle of life. So, we can embrace that if we want to, but that broader perspective can help provide really context and I think reassurance that though the present may be turbulent, we are part of an ongoing journey of growth and transformation. So change is inevitable. It's how we respond to this change that's the big factor. And tip 6, my final tip, is to cultivate inner peace and positivity. So your internal state greatly influences how you experience external events. So if your own inner state is agitated and you look on the news and some politician has said something that is absolutely contrary to your political beliefs or your ideology, or you think, oh my God, this is going to be awful. If you're already in a negative state and all doom and gloom, you're just going to magnify that. So it is about trying to hold peace within ourselves and power within ourselves, because power is a quality of your soul. Power is not external. Power is something that we all have. It's just that so often we have a negative view of power because our first or early experiences of power were power being abused or power using over us. So we don't often recognize our own power, so we shy away from it. And I think actually this is quite a common lesson in many people, that we don't own our own power. So say at this point with the trend, the astrology, which is saying, look at your own power and stop looking to have, looking for the power to be external. This is, I think, is one of the core lessons of humanity at the moment, is to honor our own power. So, but, practices to help you feel that power are gentle. They come through meditation. They come through gratitude. They come through looking and acknowledging where you have power in your life. So practices like gratitude, meditation, even positive affirmations can help you maintain a much more calm and centered mindset to help you cultivate inner peace and positivity. And by focusing on that inner peace, you can navigate external chaos and contribute more positively to your surroundings. So to your family, to your home, to your business, to your work colleagues, to your community groups, to wherever you decide to cultivate community. So there are big changes. There are big changes afoot. There are more big changes to come. There are more bigger changes happening in society. Geopolitically, there are bigger changes. And actually in the earth energy itself, there are big changes. And the way that we come through these things is both collectively to accept our own power and individually, and to cultivate these habits of community, staying grounded, staying informed, looking after ourselves, all the key things that I have mentioned. So to sum up, understanding that we're part of larger cosmic cycles can provide really a sense of perspective and empowerment during times of political upheaval. It's beyond our control, but we have control how we respond to it. So by staying informed and grounded, connecting with our community, focusing on personal growth and resilience, embracing change as a catalyst for innovation, maintaining a long-term perspective, and cultivating inner peace and positivity, we can navigate these times, these turbulent times, with grace and strength. So remember, every phase of change is temporary. It's part of a larger journey of growth and evolution. And together, if we work together, we can find our way through these cycles and emerge stronger on the other side. I think actually, there are times of these changes where I felt myself going into despair and grief. And then I had to think about, how am I responding to this? Because this is, my internal responses are within my control. And I have to recognize that even though it's in turbulence, it is all happening for the greater good, and it is all working out. And I can choose to go through this experience with a positive mindset, as opposed to feeling a victim and powerless and full of fear and grief. And I decided to make that change because I can choose to feel positive, I can choose to feel negative, and I choose to feel positive, and I hope you will too. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more bigger picture discussions and practical tips on navigating life's cosmic energies, earth energy, your own energy. So thank you for watching, and remember to stay centered, stay connected, and stay cosmic. And I will see you all next time.